Bring your whole self to work. I mean, we hear it everywhere, right?
It's everywhere. Yeah.
It's basically the golden rule of modern corporate culture. You get it from career coaches. You see it on those viral LinkedIn posts.
Right, right.
And it is baked into the onboarding materials of almost every company today. Like, just be authentic. Let your guard down.
Exactly. Just be you.
Right. But what if bringing your unfiltered, entirely authentic self to the office is actually the fastest way to just completely derail your career and, like, destroy your team's morale in the process?
Well, it is sort of the great paradox of the modern workplace, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we publicly demand this total authenticity from our leaders and our colleagues, but then behind closed doors, we severely punish people and they actually give it to us.
Exactly. And navigating that massive contradiction is exactly what we're doing on today's deep dive. Welcome in, by the way.
Glad to be here for this one. It's a huge topic.
It really is. So we are looking at insights from a newly released book called When We're in Charge: The Next Generation's Guide to Leadership, and this is by Amanda Litman.
Yes, and it's quite a read.
Our mission today is to really decode this massive generational power shift that is happening right now for you, the listener. We want to figure out why the old leadership playbooks are actively failing and discover how to strategically craft this idea of a responsibly authentic leadership persona that actually works.
And, to really understand where these new rules are coming from, you kind of have to look at the specific environment that forged them.
Really?
So Litman is a millennial. She was born in 1990, and she built her career in the absolute pressure cooker of Democratic political campaigns.
Which is intense.
Oh, incredibly. We are talking about the Obama campaigns, the Clinton campaign, and later she co-founded the organization Run for Something. And just to be perfectly clear to you listening, regardless of your own political leanings, our discussion today is absolutely not about endorsing any specific politics.
Right, exactly. We are not taking any political sides here.
Definitely not. We are simply examining this environment as the factual backdrop for her insights. Because a national political campaign is basically the most extreme workplace environment imaginable.
Yeah, it's a total crucible.
Precisely. She describes a workplace culture that is just deeply, intensely messy.
Like, how messy are we talking?
Well, you are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're drinking with your coworkers. You're crying at your desk. You are dating your colleagues.
Wow, just zero boundaries.
Zero. Because the mission feels like life or death. So it was that specific chaotic reality that forced her to fundamentally rethink how boundaries need to function when the work you do feels deeply personal.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, she realized that the traditional models of leadership completely crumbled in that kind of environment.
Which I think brings us to the core issue here. Because to understand why leadership has to change so drastically today, we first have to look at who currently holds the power and what their default playbook actually looks like. And the statistics in our source material are just staggering. Boomers and near boomers are essentially still running everything.
Yeah, the concentration of power at the top end of the age spectrum, it isn't just a casual observation. It is a structural reality across almost every industry right now.
It really spans everything. Just look at the numbers. The average age in the U.S. House of Representatives is 59. In the Senate, it's 64.
Which is high, but we expect that in politics.
Right, but you step outside of politics, and it is the exact same story.
Yeah.
Like, think back to the late 90s. Your typical action movie star was in their 30s.
Oh, sure.
Today, the typical blockbuster star is nearing 50 or well past it. Think Tom Cruise, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's still jumping off cliffs at his age.
Oh, sure, very true.
And this trend trickles all the way down to our essential workforce, too.
Mm-hmm.
The median age for farm workers is 56.2.
Wow.
Yeah. For school bus drivers, it's 55.9. For building inspectors, it's 53.2. So as far as the eye can see, older generations are occupying these leadership and senior roles.
But here is the critical mechanism that's really driving this shift and why this matters so much. We are sitting on a demographic time bomb.
A time bomb.
Literally. By the year 2030, the absolute youngest boomer is going to hit retirement age. So we are on the precipice of a massive vacuum.
Right, they all leave at once.
Exactly. Millennials and Gen Z are about to inherit a dominant share of the workforce, and they're going to step into those vacated leadership roles, whether they actually feel ready for them or not.
And that is exactly where the friction happens, right?
Yeah.
Because the old sort of boomer boss playbook is clashing violently with the reality of a younger workforce.
Completely violently.
The author illustrates this old paradigm by outlining two extreme ends of the spectrum. So on one end, you have what she calls the robot.
Ah, yes, the robot.
This is the boss who is just always on. They're completely buttoned up, they never show a single emotion, and they, like, brag about never using their vacation days.
Oh, we all know that boss.
We do. And most notably, they love to tell everyone that the team is a quote-unquote family.
Right. Which is a framing that, to be fair, actually worked in a previous economic era.
Wait, really? You think it worked?
Well, think about it. Decades ago, when companies offered robust pensions, right, and gold watches, and basically a guarantee of lifetime employment,
Okay, yeah.
that family dynamic made a twisted kind of sense back then. There was actual mutual loyalty. But Gen Z and millennials, they know those safety nets are completely gone.
Oh, absolutely. They do not exist anymore.
So when a modern boss demands unconditional family loyalty in a highly conditional, at-will economic relationship, it doesn't build trust at all.
No, it feels manipulative.
Entirely manipulative. Because after all, your family cannot lay you off just to optimize their quarterly earnings. Spot on. That is such a good point. And then, so on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have the overcorrection, which she calls the Facebook ant.
Oh, this one is so descriptive.
It is. This is the boss with absolutely zero emotional regulation. They treat the office like their personal diary.
Yeah.
They overshare about their irritable bowel syndrome. They give you unprompted updates on their stepdaughter's girlfriend's nose ring infection.
Things you never needed to know.
Never. And if they have a bad morning in traffic, the entire office has a bad morning. Like, you show up to do your job, and suddenly your main responsibility is managing your boss's emotional state.
And you see, both of these extremes represent a fundamental failure of boundaries. They just fail in different directions.
Right.
The robot denies their own basic humanity just to maintain authority. And the Facebook ant denies the professional boundaries of their team just to soothe their own anxiety. And neither of them works anymore. Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Trying to lead a team of Gen Z workers using that boomer playbook. It is like trying to run modern software on a computer from 1995.
That is a great analogy.
The hardware literally cannot compute the commands. You are trying to install programs about, mental health days and psychological safety and flexible hours onto an operating system that was built for strict FaceTime and silent obedience.
And so it crashes.
It crashes completely. And Litman realized this disconnect firsthand. She writes about being in her 20s, often being the youngest person in the room by decades, wearing animal print and bright red lipstick.
Right, very different vibe.
Totally. And sitting across from older, wealthy donors, asking them for millions of dollars to fund her organization. Trying to act like the robot in a gray suit, that just wasn't going to work for her. The traditional mold simply did not fit.
And because those old playbooks were so clearly broken, the natural rebellion for these next-gen leaders was to swing the pendulum entirely in the opposite direction. If we refuse to be corporate robots, and we know we shouldn't be chaotic Facebook ants, the prevailing wisdom just became this deeply ingrained mantra.
Right.
Just be 100% authentic. Just be your true self. But here is the critical insight from the deep dive that is actually a deeply dangerous trap.
Okay, wait, hold on. I have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Because this contradicts literally every keynote speech and self-help book published in the last 10 years.
True.
We are constantly told that vulnerability is our greatest asset. How can authenticity possibly be a trap? Like, are we supposed to just go back to stuffing our personalities into a box?
I know it sounds super counterintuitive, but consider the, quote, Litman highlights from the organizational psychologist Adam Grant.
Okay.
He argues, quote, for most people, be yourself is actually terrible advice.
Terrible advice. Why?
Because you have to ask yourself, which version of yourself, your true self, might actually be your most immature self.
Oh.
Your completely unfiltered self might be highly impulsive or deeply petty or completely disorganized. When people say be yourself, they usually mean be your best, most collaborative self. But they phrase it as a blank check for all behavior.
Ah, I see. Wow. And there's a great pop culture anecdote in the source material that perfectly nails why that blank check is a huge problem.
Oh, the podcast one.
Yes. It's from the Las Culturistas podcast. So Tina Fey was a guest, and she was talking to the host, Bowen Yang, who, is an SNL cast member.
Right.
Now, early in his career, Yang built a huge part of his personal brand by sharing completely unfiltered, highly critical opinions on movies, celebrities, pop culture. just tearing people down for laughs.
Right. Very authentic to his comedic voice at the time.
Exactly. And Tina Fey looks at him and gives him this massive reality check. She tells him to stop. She warns him that the directors or actors that he is tearing down today for a quick laugh, they might be his coworkers or his writers or his bosses just a few years down the road. And her exact quote to him was, "Authenticity is dangerous and expensive."
I mean, expensive is the absolute perfect word to use there.
It really is.
Unfiltered authenticity literally costs you professional capital. It burns relationships and it closes doors before you even know those doors exist.
Okay, so if total authenticity is so expensive and being a robot is out, what is the alternative for a modern leader?
Well, the alternative requires a huge shift in how we view the role of a leader entirely. And the text uses a really brilliant analogy here. A leader is not a thermometer. A leader is a thermostat.
A thermostat. Okay, walk me through the mechanics of that.
So think about what a thermometer actually does.
It just tells you the temp.
Right, it just passively reads the room. It reflects whatever the ambient temperature happens to be. So if the team is panicked, the thermometer shows panic.
Right.
But a thermostat sets the temperature. You actively dictate the climate of the room. And this applies to everything, down to the smallest visual cues. Well, if you log onto a team Zoom call wearing a faded tank top and sweatpants, you are setting one very specific casual norm for your team. You are communicating, this is how we operate.
Right, you're dialing the thermostat down.
Exactly. But if you show up in a tailored blazer with a fresh blowout, you are setting a completely different norm.
So you are basically establishing the baseline psychology for the room before anyone even speaks.
Exactly. Your behavior as a leader isn't just about your personal comfort. It is a strategic communication. You are signaling to your team what the environment requires of them.
But wait, assuming everyone can just smoothly choose their thermostat setting, doesn't that ignore a massive reality of the modern workplace?
How do you mean?
Well, not everyone has the luxury of just playing around with their presentation or letting it all hang out to see what happens.
Yes, you have hit on one of the most vital insights in this entire discussion. The danger of pure, unbridled authenticity isn't just about committing a corporate faux pas. It fundamentally ignores the lived reality of marginalized groups. The rules of authenticity are simply not applied equally. Not at all.
And the source material brings up Francis M. Beale's concept of double jeopardy.
Yes, it does.
Can you explain what that actually means in a modern office context? I'm not entirely familiar with how that plays out day to day for people.
Absolutely. So double jeopardy describes the specific compounding intersection of and that is faced.
Okay.
In a corporate setting, a male executive might be praised as an eccentric genius or, authentically passionate if he yells in a meeting or if he wears wrinkled t-shirts to work.
Right. He's given a ton of leeway.
Exactly. He is given the benefit of the doubt. But a woman doing the exact same thing does not receive that grace. The intersection of those biases means she is immediately stereotyped as angry or unprofessional. The margin for error is virtually non-existent for her.
Wow. That brings a striking quote from the material into very sharp focus. Jen Stowe, the Millennial Executive Director of the National Domestic Workers Alliance, she talks about this directly.
She does, yeah.
She explains that as a woman, bringing her quote-unquote whole self to work is just not an option on the table. She says she absolutely brings her best self to work, but she has to intentionally leave her Saturday self behind.
And just think about your own Saturday self for a second.
Oh, man, it's messy.
Right. It is that totally relaxed, unguarded version of you when you are hanging out on the couch with your friends. Your guard is completely down.
Right. And Stowe points out that she has to leave that Saturday self at home because the workplace will actively penalize her for being too authentic.
Exactly.
If she drops that professional armor, she faces immediate professional consequences that her white peers simply do not face.
And we really have to look at the flip side of that dynamic, too, because the phrase, "I was just being myself," is overwhelmingly used as a shield by leaders who already hold immense privilege.
Oh.
It becomes a highly convenient excuse to justify terrible behavior. When a powerful leader says, "Look, I'm just a straight shooter, I'm just being authentic," what they are really doing is demanding that everyone below them absorb the collateral damage of their lack of self-regulation.
That completely dismantles the whole Silicon Valley myth, doesn't it?
It really does.
The archetype of the unpolished tech founder who can just say whatever toxic thing pops into his head just because he wears a hoodie and sandals to the boardroom.
It exposes it for what it is. It's a luxury. True unfiltered authenticity is a privilege that very few people can actually afford.
Right.
And more importantly, from a leadership perspective, it rarely serves the team. If your personal authenticity creates an unpredictable or volatile or unsafe environment for the people relying on you, you aren't being a bold leader. You are just failing at your job.
Okay, so we are caught in this incredible tension now.
Mm.
We know we cannot be boomer robots who pretend feelings don't exist.
Nope.
We know we shouldn't be the chaotic Facebook ant.
Definitely no.
And we've just established that bringing our 100% unfiltered whole selves to work is a privileged trap.
Yes.
So what is the actual blueprint? How do next-gen leaders navigate this minefield?
Well, Litman provides a highly specific framework for this, and she calls it responsible authenticity.
Responsible authenticity. How does that differ from just, faking it?
It is not a fake mask that you strap on to deceive people. That's the key. It is a highly curated version of your actual genuine core values.
Okay.
She uses this great metaphor. She calls it business athleisure.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Think about what business athleisure actually is. It is an outfit that looks sharp, professional, and put together for the office. But it is made of materials that are comfortable enough that you can wear it for 12 hours without feeling like you are suffocating in a stiff suit.
Yeah, you can actually move in it.
Exactly. Your leadership persona should feel exactly like that. Professional, but genuinely comfortable.
To explain how you actually build that persona, the author uses an analogy that I am absolutely obsessed with.
Yeah.
She compares modern leadership to being a social media influencer.
Which is a startling comparison at first,
Yeah.
but it's incredibly accurate when you really break down the mechanics of it.
It really is. Because think about the influencers that you follow, even the most supposedly relatable ones. The influencer who posts a raw, tearful video complaining about their baby crying at 3 in the morning, complete with the messy bun and no makeup.
Oh, we've all seen those videos.
Right. We look at that and think, wow, so authentic. But they're still making a highly calculated, curated choice.
They absolutely are.
They are actively choosing to set up a ring light, hit record, edit the clip, write an engaging caption, and broadcast it to a million strangers. It is a performance of authenticity that is designed to serve their brand.
And Litman highlights a fascinating case study of someone who has actually mastered this. Her name is Jordan Harrod. She is a Gen Z STEM creator and a PhD student. And she is incredibly successful at building trust online. But she treats her online persona strictly as a role that she steps into.
Okay.
She actually took acting and improv classes specifically to figure out how to best perform the character of quote-unquote Jordan Harrod, content creator.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
She studied acting just to be a version of herself.
I know, but look at the results. She uses what she calls a dial.
A dial.
Yeah. When she is standing at a podium at a medical physics conference giving a highly technical presentation, she dials that specific professional persona up to 100%.
Makes sense.
But when she is recording a video for her main YouTube channel, she turns the dial down to maybe 20%. For Twitter, she adjusts it to 10%.
Right.
She is constantly calibrating her performance based on what the audience needs in that moment, even though the core values are always genuinely hers.
And there is another tactical detail from Harrod's strategy that I think everyone listening right now needs to steal. She has a strict 6-month rule.
This is so important.
It's brilliant. She refuses to post about her deep personal struggles, whether it is navigating her ADHD or dealing with mental health challenges, until she has personally processed them for at least 6 months.
That right there is the absolute essence of boundaries.
Totally.
She is not processing her trauma in real time for an audience. Doing that places a burden on the audience to comfort her.
Exactly.
By waiting 6 months, she ensures that when she finally shares her authentic self, she is offering a helpful lesson to her audience, not just treating them like her therapist.
Think about the last time you were tempted to vent on a company Slack channel because you were having a terrible day.
Oh, dangerous territory.
Very. Did you apply anything resembling a 6-month rule, or were you just reacting?
Yeah,
Makes me think of packing a carry-on bag for a specific trip.
I like this analogy.
Yeah, imagine your entire closet is your whole self. You aren't pretending you don't own a heavy winter parka or a neon swimsuit.
Right.
Right, they're yours. But if you are flying to a business meeting in Chicago in November, you are only packing the specific items from your closet that serve the destination.
You're not bringing the swimsuit.
You are leaving the neon swimsuit at home.
Hmm.
The clothes in the suitcase are all authentically yours. They belong to you, but they are curated specifically for the mission.
That is a phenomenal way to conceptualize it. Because ultimately, the harsh truth that underpins all of this is that people do not actually want their leaders to be 100% themselves.
No, they don't.
Employees might say they want total transparency, but what they're actually asking for is completely different.
So what are they actually asking for when they say, be authentic?
They are asking for consistency. They want you to be predictable enough so they can cultivate two specific things. First, trust.
Trust.
They need to know that what they expect from you on a Tuesday is the exact same thing they will get from you on a Thursday. And second, psychological safety. They want the environment to be stable so that the team can feel safe taking risks. If the leader is sucking up all the emotional oxygen in the room by being their messy, chaotic whole self,
Like the Facebook ant?
exactly like the ant, there is simply no psychological safety left for the employees to actually do their best work.
Wow, that completely flips the script on leadership. It is not about you feeling comfortable expressing yourself. It is about you utilizing your self-presentation to create the space for them to feel secure.
Precisely. Responsible authenticity means your behavior is always in service to the broader mission and the well-being of your team, rather than just being a vehicle for your own ego or your emotional release.
And bringing this all home to you, the listener, the beautiful thing about this playbook is that you do not need to be sitting in a corner office with a CEO title to use it.
Not at all.
Whether you are managing a fully remote team across 5 different time zones on Slack, or you are organizing a weekend volunteer group, or, I don't know, you just run a local neighborhood book club. You are the thermostat.
You set the temperature.
You are actively setting the temperature for everyone else in that room, virtual or otherwise. And it all starts with asking yourself a couple of core questions from the author. Who are you when you finally unclench your jaw and drop your shoulders?
That's a great visual.
It is. And where does that relaxed core version of you overlap with the goals of your mission? Everything else. You can just leave it in your closet.
You know, if we pull back and look at the trajectory of all this, it raises a really profound question about what comes next.
Ooh, okay. Where are you going with this?
Well, we've spent this time dissecting how millennials and Gen Z are actively rewriting the rules to be highly curated, right? Intentional and boundary focused, essentially adopting an influencer-style approach to leadership.
Yeah, that's the whole responsible authenticity thing.
But it makes you wonder about the generation coming up right behind them.
Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha. This is a generation being raised completely immersed in AI-generated perfection, hyper-polished influencer content, and digital curation basically from birth.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
As they eventually enter the workforce in a decade or two, will they look at our curated authenticity and just reject it as completely fake?
Oh, that's fascinating.
Right. Might the future of leadership require a massive swing back toward pure, uncurated, messy chaos, simply as the only remaining way to prove that we are actually human beings and not an algorithm?
Now, that is a thought that will keep me staring at the ceiling tonight. Are we eventually going to have to be completely unhinged at work just to prove we aren't bots?
It's entirely possible.
It's a crazy question. But until that chaotic future arrives, we have to navigate the reality we are in today. So remember, the next time someone casually tells you to bring your whole self to work, maybe just leave your Saturday self on the couch. Pack that carry-on bag with only exactly what you need and set the thermostat responsibly. Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today. We will catch you on the next one.